Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta warning Congress, don't cut the defense budget or our national security will be at risk. Secretary Panetta insisting Congress stop the automatic defense cuts triggered by the supercommittee's failure.
You're going to hurt this country not only by cutting defense, but very frankly by cutting discretionary spending that deals with the quality of life in this country.
Congressman Allen West is on the House Armed Services Committee. He joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing, Greta?
Very well. Well, nobody wants to be cut. Everybody says we should cut everything, but nobody wants to be cut.
Well, I have to tell you, we did not protect Department of Defense as a sacred cow. Right now, you're going to see $487 billion of cuts over the next 10 years. One of the things that does disturb me is that we cannot continue to look as the military as the bill payer for our fiscal irresponsibility. The Obama administration has come out and said that they're going to even cut the health care benefits to our retirees and some of our active duty members, and they're going to raise the rates by triple. So I think that until we have leadership that's willing to tackle the other side, the mandatory spending side, with the Medicare, the Medicaid, the Social Security, the net interest on the debt, you can take the military defense budget, you can zero it out. You're still going to have close to $1 trillion deficit.
The thing that sort of distresses me about all of this, though, and Secretary of Defense Panetta suggested that one way that he thought handling it was raising taxes and cutting entitlements. That's what he said. I didn't hear him say, and I didn't hear the whole transcript, but I so rarely hear it in Washington, that this whole business, like, when are we going after waste and fraud? I mean, there's a lot of talk, but there's a tremendous amount of waste and fraud. I'm not saying that that's the answer, but it's never, ever about waste and fraud.
Well, and that's a great start. A year ago, the GAO put out a report that about $200 to $300 billion.
It sits on my desk.
I know, and you and I have had that conversation quite often, and no one has tackled that. I mean, duplicative programs, redundant programs. When you come to Washington, D.C. right now, one of the things is a lot of construction cranes. So that means the government is growing. That means that people are going to have less money in their pockets.
Actually, the first time I met you was you came to Washington and you were here about 30 or 45 days, and you got a unanimous vote on what was it? On you got some savings in the Defense Department.
Department of Defense. We found 3 wasteful programs in the Department of Defense, and it passed 393 to 0. As we talked about, what if each and every member took that type of scrutiny and went to their jurisdiction committees and they start to look at those budgets and find just those 1 or 2 things, and if they all added up, that's only about $30 million over the next 5 years. But if every single 435 plus members would do that, House and Senate.
But I think more than that, I think as a taxpayer, I think it would inspire the American taxpayers to say, to show that you're at least trying to pay attention to what you're doing with our dollars, and you're not wasting. You're trying to recover it. And it may be that if we recover it, then we do have to do something else. But at least send us a message that you care.
Well, that's why I tell people that it's not about raising revenues by raising taxes. Until we can show that we're going to be fiscally responsible up here in Washington, D.C. and do the hard work that the American people send us up here to do, why should we ask for more resources from the American people?
And I should add, so the whole irony is that the reason this trigger is happening is because that no one could agree on the debt ceiling last August, so they cut a deal with the budget so that there'd be a super committee who would solve our problems by Thanksgiving, and if that didn't happen, we'd go into this automatic trigger. That didn't happen. They couldn't agree along party lines in Thanksgiving, so we go to this automatic trigger where these huge cuts are going to happen, but the huge cuts were set up to occur after the election so that no politician is going to get hit in November, because they don't go into effect until January.
January 2013. So
it's rigged against the taxpayer.
Well, but see, one of the things that we're going to do, as a matter of fact, Chairman McKeon has already brought legislation up that says we can find, that $127 billion in that first year so that we don't have to do it to defense. When you talk to the chairman of the Budget Committee, Paul Ryan, we agree we can find those $1.2 trillion of cuts, but it doesn't all have to come on the backs of our military, because right now when you talk about the defense situation that you see all across the globe, we should not be sending a message to our enemies that we're going to gut our defense right now.
Congressman, always nice to see you.
It's always a pleasure.
Straight ahead.